Is there an episode of the Carefree Cooks Code that particularly stuck with you this year? Which episode did you have your greatest aha moment? And do you think it made my top 15 list? Because that's what it is. It's the top 15 Carefree Cooks episodes of 2019 today on the Carefree Cooks Code. I'm Chef Todd Moore, and this is the Carefree Cooks Code, every Tuesday live at noon Eastern. Here's our challenge. How can home cooks cook freely with creativity, confidence, and pride while ignoring recipes and still impressing themselves and others with what they cook? Well, the answer is found in becoming empowered with how cooking works, using dependable and repeatable methods of cooking that work for any ingredient, for any diet, and any desire, just like chefs do. And we'll know we've cracked it when everyone sees cooking as an exciting and rewarding way to improve their relationships, their lifestyles, and their health through better food and cooking. This is the Carefree Cooks Code. Welcome back to the Carefree Cooks Code, everyone. We are live every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time. And if you're getting my Tuesday morning email alert, you'll know the topic, you'll know hours ahead of time, and you'll also have a link with exactly where to go for the class. Again, I'm not sending out Facebook Messenger alerts anymore, so go to webcookingclasses.com/live and join the alert email list. If you're already getting my emails, you don't have to worry about it, because we're the Carefree Cooks, right? Say it with me. I create my own recipes. I bring friends and family together. I learn every time I cook. I create my own cooking style because I practice pro methods and I love my cooking. That's our little Carefree Cooks mission manifesto statement. Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. I'm so excited really to start a fresh and new year together as we all progress our individual cooking journeys into the year 2020. And I have so much planned for us in the coming year. I've got more great Carefree Cooks Codes episodes and topics. We're going to expand your mastery of the kitchen even further in 2020. I've got new and exciting free online classes planned. I've got new ways for us to cook together and learn together in the new year. And I even, biting my lip, Heather told me not to talk about this yet, not to tease it yet, but I'm so giddy with positivity for the new year. I'm going to have to just offhandedly mention it because right now I'm working on, it's not done. Oh, I think I hurt my lip. Right now I'm working on a way that we could all be together in person in 2020. I would love to meet each and every one of you in person, shake your hand, and I'm working on a way that we can do this before 2021 strikes. But I wasn't supposed to say that much. That's all I can say. But I do have a What Am I for you today. Here's the What Am I. Tell me in the comments section below. What is this thing? Don't just tell me it looks like a big knife, obviously. That little tassel on the bottom there, that's a little telling if you've ever been to some fancy restaurants. So let's just leave it there. Tell me in the comments section below, what am I? And if you know the verb, giving too many hints. If you know the verb that goes along with this item, extra points if you know that also. Look, 2020, I'm so excited about this because it's going to start my fourth decade as a chef. And no, it's not 40 years, but the fourth decade, my third decade of teaching cooking. And you know, actually, I've been doing this for so long that somebody, my friend Terry Rossi, somebody pointed out a prediction that I made about the year 2020 many years ago. Whole black peppercorns, put that in there, and bay leaves. Like I've told you before, we buy them big around here. You can tune into a cooking course in the year 2020, and I'll still have this thing of bay leaves. This is enough. Well, welcome to Cooking Course 2020. Maybe I'll still be doing these things, and you'll see the same damn thing of bay leaves, and all I really need is one of them. So I'll see you in 15 years or so. Whole black peppercorns, put that in. Oh, that's so funny. I'm so glad to see so many people with us today. Isn't that great? Somebody pointed that out. That was from 2008. And it just reminds me, I see the same names week after week. I see new names also, and welcome. But all these people, the comments, the likes, the shares, these are people I've known for 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. And, Web Cooking Class has celebrated its 10th anniversary in 2019. And I still hear from so many of my original students, this warms my heart. And this is a revolution in cooking that is going to continue for many, many years, even when I'm old in the year 2020, right? Because it all comes down to this, what we study together, the effects of heat on food, the dependable and reliable methods of cooking, the ones that generate confidence, the ones that motivate creativity. This concept is making a big difference in people's lives all over the world. And that's why today I wanted to bring you the top 15 Carefree Cooks episodes of 2019 so you can review something that made an impact on you maybe weeks ago or months ago, or you can go back and see some of the lessons that you missed over the past year. So you can see any of the past Carefree Cooks Codes episodes by going to my Chef Todd Moore Facebook page and clicking on videos on the left sidebar. You see there, if you go to Chef Todd on the left, you see the big red arrow, all the videos are there. So there's no need to ask where you can find them, where can I watch this one? They're all there. I wrote, produced, and presented 50 Carefree Cooks episodes this year, and along with 25 Carefree Cook-Along segments where we cook together in my kitchen. That means we were live together at least once a week, every week, all year long, and these classes were free to everyone. So here it is, the top 15 Carefree Cooks episodes of 2019 based on total viewership. At number 15 is one of my favorite lessons of the entire year. It was the 7 Whys of cooking, a way to find your real truth. I had gone to a seminar earlier in 2019. I saw a guy named Dean Graziosi speak, and he really motivated me to examine, why do I even do this? Why am I on here week 50 out of 52 weeks? And one of those was a technical difficulty. So why have I made this kind of commitment? Why do I have this drive to reach so many other people? And it makes you ask the 7 whys. It was a really emotional episode for me, you might remember. But if you get an opportunity, go back and search for that one. That's number 15 in the top 15 of 2019. The next was the Food Vault. Balancing a stocked pantry versus frozen money. Oh my goodness, do you know how much food people have stored up in their cabinets? Ancient food that they really don't need. Do you remember? You remember this lesson? We talked about things like inventory turns. Remember the phrase, in the back door, through the kitchen, and out the front door as quickly as possible? That's the way to make the most out of your food budget. Number 13 was Touch, Smell, Look. This was a lot of fun. Do you remember playing the Pick Fresh Foods game show, right? I gave you a fruit or vegetable, and we talked about what is the best way to tell that if it's fresh. Do you touch it? Do you smell it, right? It was really cool, and it was a lot of fun. That was a great lesson. Number 12 was 3 Truths and 1 Lie about farmers market shopping. I generally do this class or some version of it come springtime. Because remember, the point of this was it's only expensive if your definition of expense only includes money. There's a different type of expense when it comes to your food and diet, and it's not always about money. So go back and watch that one when farmers market season comes around again. Number 11 was how to become a food matchmaker. It was such a great class about contrasting and complementing food shapes, food colors, food textures, food flavors, things like that. Go back and watch that class if you haven't seen it before. Number 10 was which pots and pans do you really need in your kitchen? This was a really popular class this year because it's a question that I get over and over and over again. And, people ask me about these non-stick pans, and I say unequivocally, yes, they're good for making grilled cheese. Number 9 was 3 surprising ways to enrich your fall cooking. I found out that thousands of people didn't know that you're supposed to change your cooking style with the season. This is a concept I've done pretty much all my life, and only until I started talking to other people about it did I realize how few people realized how your cooking changes with the seasons. And this was a great class to help you along with it. Number 8 was a visually delicious plating and presentation practices. You remember all those great presentation ideas and tips that we discussed, right? You talk about people eat with their eye. Well, we made the eye better. We made the eye hungrier in 2019. Is your food looking any better than it was last year? If you saw that class, I bet it is, no doubt. Number 7 in the top 15 of 2019 is be sneaky tasty. This concept of sneaky tasty, which was all about creating rich and flavorful liquids. We talked about broths. We talked about making your own stocks. We talked about basically taking the items that you usually throw in the garbage and making a flavorful liquid out of it. And you know what that does? That makes all your sauces better. It makes all your steamed items better. It makes all your poached items better, your simmered items better, your braised items better. Any method that you use, a combination or a moist cooking method, is improved by making your own stocks and sauces. Oh, not to mention your soups or your paella. My goodness, my paella this year, because of the saffron lobster stock I made, I'll tell you about that later. Incredible. Got to keep moving. Number 6, what's the best steak for grilling? This is where we broke down, good pun, we broke down the idea of primal, subprimal, fabricated cuts, where they come from on the animal, so you know which cut is right for you for the dish that you're about to create. We get into the top 5 now of the 15 top classes in the Carefree Cooks Code of 2019. Number 5 is the 26 kitchen temperatures that you can't cook without. And look, this is something I am absolutely adamant about, that cooking does not have to be the guesswork that the TV shows and the cookbooks try and convince you that it is. The best measurement instrument in your kitchen is not a clock. Don't cook by time. The best measurement instrument in your kitchen is a thermometer. And when you know, or you can recognize by eye, these 26 temperatures, you can stop cooking by time, which again is the absolute worst way to cook. Class number 4, everybody loves pizza. And what's holding you back from the best pizza dough of your life was the 4th most popular watched class of 2019. And once you know how to work with yeast, once you know how to baby your yeasties, or like Michael Jennings and a lot of sourdough fanatics in our classes, in our Carefree Cooks community, you can treat them really well, feed them, and let them burp, or you can make them really sour and keep them for years and years. So once you know about yeast dough, then heck yeah, pizza crusts, lean French doughs, baguettes, rolls, pretzels, it's all within your reach. Number 3 most popular class of 2019. This was a real surprise to me, I gotta say. It was the Summer Salad Days class, when we talked about heatless summer cooking. And it's something that I discovered. Again, I've been teaching for decades. Well, tomorrow I will be teaching for decades. And I've always talked about, again, changing your cooking for the season, but I've spent so many years talking about heatless cooking in the summer, and it came from the time I used to live in a really small apartment that got really, really hot every time I cooked. So I need to figure out a way to cook without turning the stove and the oven and the burners on. And this whole concept of heatless cooking in the summer really caught on like wildfire. Oh, I didn't mean that. No, it caught on like ice cubes, I guess. I don't know, in the summer. So it was the 3rd most popular class of 2019. The 2nd most popular class of 2019 is the 16 cooking rules that you should never follow. I've been talking about this for probably as long as I've been talking about cooking, but every time I see a food TV show or I read a recipe that tells me to do something that I just know I should not do, I write it down. So maybe I need to do volume 2 of this in 2020 and do like the 25 cooking rules that you should never follow, because I run into them all the time. The things that these TV shows and cookbooks tell you to do that they're just wrong. They're setting you up for failure. And if you can stop following these 16 cooking rules, then you're definitely going to cook much better. And if you haven't seen that episode, again, go to Chef Todd Moore's Facebook page, look at the videos link on the left-hand side, and you will see them. All right, here it is. The number one, drum roll, please. Clark, drum roll, thank you. The number one, oh no, that made me lose my mouse connection. The number one class of 2019, this surprised me, Through Thick and Thin, making great winter soups. This time of year when it's getting colder, it's just such a great health benefit to you. It's an inside warmer, and you know what? There's really not a lot of rules when it comes to making soups, so you can throw all kinds of things together and it becomes the soup that you want. So Through Thick and Thin is the number one watched, the most popular class of 2019 of the Carefree Cooks Code. And if you haven't seen that one, with the cold coming your way, you should learn the 3 categories of soups as well. And like I said, combine that with the stocks classes, the sneaky tasty, make your own stocks. Get one of the videos about making roux and thickening agents. So a good flavorful liquid stock with a well-made thickening agent roux takes you through thick and thin in the kitchen. All right. So those are the top 15. Was your favorite on there? Do you think it was cool or not? Or any on there that you remember? Oh my goodness, when I saw that one, that changed my thinking about cooking all the time. Tell me in the comment section, which one was the aha moment for you? Because I want to give some honorable mentions as well. I want to make sure that I mention my favorite episodes of the last year. They might not have been the most watched. They might not have been the most popular. And, many of these episodes, the most watched, most popular is only, by a few thousand. So it's a close on some of them. But here are my favorites for honorable mention. I loved doing the How to Read the Road Signs of Cooking so you know when you've arrived class, because this class overcomes so many of the myths that I hear on a daily basis. The things that people ask me about, things that grandma taught them, that I love everybody's grandma, but grandmas were wrong. A lot of times grandmas were wrong, or they didn't know why. They were right. It came out okay, but they didn't really know why they were doing the things that they were doing. These ideas of cooking with clocks, salting water, searing things to hold in the juices. It's really about cooking with your eye. And this was my favorite class because this is the one that really brings the 4 effects of heat on food into the lexicon of cooking. If I were to teach anyone how to cook, it would be in a classroom, the first class. It wouldn't be at a stove. There are concepts before you're allowed to go to the stove. I do this in culinary school all the time. The students would get so angry. When do we get to cook? When do we get to cook? And I would respond, not now, grasshopper. There's a lot of knowledge you need to think about. And one of it is respect for the past. And another of my favorite cooking episodes, Carefree Cooks Code episodes, is which founding father of cooking are you most like? Because, in the Carefree Cooks Code mantra that we say at the beginning of every episode, we create our own cooking style. Well, this is an important thing if you're going to be a carefree cook. What style do you cook in? Like, could somebody taste something and go, oh, Susie must have cooked this? Is there your fingerprint on, not literally, don't put your thumb, but, your fingerprint on it, and knowing your forefathers of cooking and how they contributed. If you haven't seen this episode, go back and watch that as well, because it'll help you define your cooking style. And, having been a culinary college college professor. Cooking words matter. I used to do a vocabulary quiz every day in my classes because your cooking vocabulary improves your knowledge and improves your cooking when you use precise words in the kitchen, when you can duplicate a procedure because it's not a vague or vacuous word. Cooking words matter. And, one of my favorite episodes goes back to this idea of going back to ideas. I had a miraculous dinner at a very fancy restaurant in Baltimore, and I stopped and had to ask myself, God, I wonder how many people it took to put on that very fancy dinner. And ask yourself that question. How many chefs do you have to be to get dinner done every night? Because if you're roasting something and making a sauce and steaming the vegetables and doing plate presentation and plate up and garnishing and seasoning, and maybe you made a compound butter, and then maybe you have something for dessert, you will realize how many chefs you are in your own home, and you will be so much more appreciative of the skills that you have in the kitchen. I see people, they post in our Carefree Cooks community all the time, look, I made this dish, and some people go, oh, that's really nice, and they're either advanced or they're just starting out, and some people are a little flippant about it, and they go, oh, I just whipped this up. Boy, you got to go through a lot. There is a whole lot of learning until you can just whip this up, and I dropped a whole lot of learning on you over the past 12 months. Go back and see some of those episodes if you're unfamiliar with them, because we examined aspects of food and cooking that really matter. And this is my mission. Doing things that really matter. Liberate, educate, right? Things that can really affect people all over the world. And I know it does. I know it's working because people write me all the time and they tell me so. They say, I love what you're doing. And you know what? I love what I do as well. And I'm so grateful to you. I am so grateful that you continue to participate in our cooking movement here, because I think about this a lot. And I think it's because I give you something that isn't found anywhere else. What I give you is a professional's insight into the home kitchen. I find that so many professionals are not inclusive, don't want to bring other people in. I do, and I'm so glad that you appreciate my insight. But going along with my insight also means that I hope you please understand my total disregard for cooking gadgets. Look, I can't answer your sous vide stick question because I never owned one. I've never had one. I've never cooked with one. I don't know anything about the sous vide stick. It's just not my thing. All right. I have no idea about air fryers. I have no idea about Instacookers because my focus is on the methods. My focus is on the sights, the sounds, the smells of a meal in progress. And I know that the people selling cooking gadgets, they're making a whole lot more money than I am. But I feel like I'm getting even greater rewards because every day I'm helping people. I'm not just selling them something that, let's be honest, oftentimes it just winds up in a cabinet, But true cooking skills last forever. It's like using a calculator versus knowing how to do longhand math, So look, if your New Year's resolution is to get me to love your air fryer, is to get me to be impressed by your boil and bag stick or your crock pot, it's just not going to happen. It really isn't. But I love that you love it, okay? So you can love it all you want, but you are not going to get me to go to the gadget side in 2020. Because what I see is stuff like this, the dish of the week. And the holidays have brought out all the confidence and creativity from our Carefree cooks this week. You would not believe some of the holiday cooking that's been going on and the kind comments that are coming my way. Chef Todd, this was the easiest one ever. I brined a turkey for the first time. Chef Todd, I used to get stressed about the holiday. Now it was no problem. I threw a party. I brought the best dish to the party. Do you know how that makes my heart grow 3 sizes that day? It's amazing. So I got a lot of them. I couldn't include all of them. I don't want to go overtime on the last day of the year. Let me show you some of the stuff that's been going on. Things like Linda's Latkes. latke potato pancakes are one of the greatest things at the holidays. And there's Al's tenderloin that, oops, where did I go? There we go. There's Al's tenderloin with a gremolata that he made. Very creative, really cool. Did it again. Amy's prime rib with sweet potato and parsnip latkes as well. What a great idea. Once you know the method for making latke potato pancakes, then you can use parsnips and sweet potatoes and anything else that you want. Marna made a beef Wellington, which it takes a lot of confidence to go ahead and try and do that. Susan made a beef Wellington, and it takes a lot of confidence to try and do that. Marcella made a ribeye roast that came out absolutely perfect because she is quantifying her cooking with precise finished internal temperatures with her thermometer, and it takes a lot of confidence to do that. Anne made a beef tenderloin in a brandy mushroom sauce. Brandy mushroom sauce blew my mind, and it takes a lot of confidence to do that. Bob did a spiral ham. Love it. Thanks for saving us from all the beef. But then again, there was Jones beef Wellington, and it takes a lot of confidence to do that. Leo, thank you, Leo. He brings us out of the beef world because he did a Christmas paella, a seafood paella. And look, another aside, for the vegetarian and vegans out there, I didn't just highlight the beef. This is what people are cooking. It's amazing to me how many vegetarians, vegans, and so on, they say nasty things to me, to be honest, but this is what people eat. This is what people cook. And also, people have been asking me, what did I make for Christmas, right? So let me tell you a little bit about some of my traditions. One of my traditions comes from Grandpa Milton Moore. He sounds like an old grandpa, right? Grandpa Milton Moore, one of the biggest culinary influences on my life. When I was a kid, I was amazed that my grandfather cooked, but my grandmother didn't. Grandma Ivy, she was a proper English woman from Wimbledon. She didn't do any cooking. She did all the sewing. Grandpa did all the cooking, and this is a tradition that goes to my childhood. It's Nova lox on black bread with caviar and creme fraiche. Thank you, Milton. Love it. I also make potato latkes, and I love them topped with fresh caviar and creme fraiche. Again, seems to be a theme. Oh, and this one I prepared. I quickly dredged some lobster nuggets, just cut up lobster tail in flour and Old Bay. I normally don't deep fry. You guys know my absolute hatred for deep frying. I don't even consider it a cooking method. It's just a mess. But at the holidays, I deep fried them. They were nice and crunchy little lobster bits. And hey, great minds think alike, Leo, because I also did a lobster, scallop, and shrimp paella for dinner. And the key, like I mentioned before, go back to that Sneaky Tasty episode, because the key was making a really rich stock from the lobster and shrimp shells and a big pinch of saffron in there as well. So as the year comes to an end, I want to say a really big thank you to everybody. Thank you for being a part of our ever-growing community. Thank you for contributing, being part of it, posting your original creations based on what you learned in web cooking classes. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your shares. Thank you especially for your encouragement of other members, of other carefree cooks. The greatest thing about our community, I've said it 100 times, when somebody comes on and they're like, hey, it's my first post, thank you. Excuse me. That can be a little intimidating. That can be a little scary. Everybody jumps in, welcome. Oh, that's so great. Good for you. Hey, I made that mistake in the past. This is what I've learned. Maybe that helped you. Thank you. Thank you for encouraging those people. Thank you for believing in our philosophy as a community, which is the empowerment of one is the empowerment of all. And that encouragement that you provide of someone else, I'm telling you, it finds its way back to you. It does. Help someone else, right? That enlightening, the knowledge, the progression, the curiosity, a human being with a goal and a path, that's somebody who's alive. That's somebody who's moving forward. And a cooking journey works on your brain. It works on your body. It works on your well-being. It nourishes relationships. It nourishes your soul. Let me tell you this, and I'm going to look right into the camera and ask you, look into the eyes of your grandchildren when you're cooking together. when you're in the kitchen together, then tell me that kitchen skills aren't one of the most precious and powerful human skills that you can own. Just look into the eyes of your kids or your grandkids. It's true. The what am I today? The what am I? This is a champagne saber. This is the fancy way to open your bottle of champagne on New Year's Eve. And the act of opening a bottle of champagne with a saber is called sabrage. Sabrage, right? And the champagne saber is a specific tool. It's not for battle. It's for ceremony. It's created for ceremony. It's not sharp. It has a edge, but you don't use the edge, the sharper end of the blade. You always use the spine, the dull side of the blade. You move the saber up the neck of the bottle really quickly with force, purposely. And then when you hit the collar of the bottle, you break the neck, separating it from the body of the bottle, and the force that's exerted by the champagne under pressure expels that. And that's why you won't get any champagne glass in your glass of champagne. Here's what it looks like from my French Food Finds DVD. Check this out. Because only those sparkling wines that are made in the Champagne region of France can be called champagne. So I had to come to the Champagne region of France, and specifically to the G.H. Martel company, to show you how they've been making champagne for hundreds and hundreds of years. Not only that, but how to choose the right champagne, the difference between champagnes, and a really cool way to open your champagne bottle with a sabatier with a knife, and we'll show you. Let's go inside and see.
So you take it with your left hand, like this. You use like that. And you leave it like this for a while, and then you will be able to pour the glasses. After, you just have to drink the whole bottle at once because you cannot close it anymore.
Go ahead, like and share the Carefree Cooks Code with your friends so we can all feel the power of confidence and creativity in the kitchen. And you know, another thing, I got this question. I know I'm over, but I'm having fun. I got this question this morning. A person wrote to me and they said, look, Chef Todd, if I cook the way that you teach, how will I know how long to cook something? It drives me nuts, right? Cooking by recognizing the effects of heat on food instead of staring at a clock. It's one of the discoveries that can change your cooking overnight. And my free class this week is 3 cooking discoveries to change your food from fair to fantastic. So I told you what one is. I wonder what the other 2 are. If you want to start your own culinary journey to become empowered with how cooking works, get started by holding your spot in the next class right away. Go to webcookingclasses.com/discover and hold your spot in the next class. What a fantastic year. Thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at noon Eastern for the Carefree Cooks Code 2020 edition. Until then, remember, this is Chef Todd reminding you that there's a method to your cooking success. Bye-bye.